Hello Nintendo Wii here, welcome back to Let's Play Retro Games. I picked this game up the other day and it's a really interesting game. I couldn't find a lot about it online, so I decided to make this review here. The game is called StarHawk for the original Game Boy, and it is quite a rare game and quite an interesting game too, so I really hope you enjoy the video. So this is StarHawk, a game released in 1992 by Accolade and developed by NMS Software. The game, as far as I can tell, only ever came out in Europe. It was scheduled to be released in America, but I think it got cancelled at the last minute. Don't quote me on that, but I really can't find a lot about this game online. So, from the title screen you get to choose from normal or hard and change the amount of lives, or you can also enter a password to return to the last stage that you played. Hard mode's pretty cool, and it also adds a few more enemies and different patterns, which actually make the game a lot more fun to play, but I'll get back to that in a bit. The game itself is just a basic horizontal scrolling shooter with a few neat gimmicks. As you can see, the graphics look really nice for the original Game Boy, but almost straight away you bump into the first problem I had with the game. The hitbox for the ship is way too big, making it very easy to crash into the walls when you're trying to dodge the enemies. Most games like this have a hitbox that's actually slightly smaller than the ship, so you can kind of dodge the bullets without getting hit as soon as they touch the edge, but unfortunately, this game, the entire sprite is the entire hitbox, so it does take a bit of getting used to. The outlines on the player and the enemies make the game easy to play on the original Game Boy screen. It really helps you to differentiate something moving from the background. Of course, playing it on the Super Game Boy or Game Boy Advance remove this issue entirely, but it is good to see that the developers thought of this anyway. There's a simple power-up system in place which includes several different weapons which also change the look of the ship. As well as the power-ups, there's also a separate power meter which goes from 1 to 6, as far as I've managed to get to anyway. Each time you take a hit, this number reduces, and if it reaches 0, then you're back to the start of the level with basic power, which makes it really hard in some of the later levels because the enemies just soak up bullets if you're not fully powered. My favourite power in the game is the one that fires the bouncing balls, but there's also loads of other ones as well. There's a homing missile that can target the enemies, and there's a weird triangle one that goes straight through all the enemies as well. It's really good once you've decided which power-up to use to try and keep that until the end of the stage and take on the boss. The game does have an auto-fire button, but unfortunately it's not as fast as actually just mashing the button yourself. So expect to be playing most of the game like this, and take a break else you'll probably end up getting cramped like I did. As I mentioned earlier, hard mode adds some more enemies and changes up the placement of the powers. Some of the levels while playing on normal have big areas where nothing happens at all, so I do actually recommend playing it on hard, if only just to reduce the downtime between the sections of enemies. So there's 5 levels overall in the game, but the second level really surprised me with its amazing parallax scrolling. It's actually not very often that a Game Boy game makes me go wow out loud, so I was really impressed to say the least. It also repeats this graphic style in level 4 with a cave setting, but unfortunately in these stages you don't actually interact with the background at all. You can actually just go through the floor or the ceiling without even getting damaged. This is in contrast to the other stages in the game where if you actually hit the floor or ceiling, you're instantly killed. So it does make it a bit hard to know when you can or can't touch the walls, and it is a bit confusing to begin with, but after a few plays you kind of get used to it. The boss fights at the end of the stage are all quite interesting and have certain weak points which you have to shoot in a certain order. I found it quite fun figuring out their patterns and trying to find the weak spots, and they do also look pretty cool as well. So, overall I think the game is really good, maybe not quite worth the crazy prices it's going for today, but if you do manage to find a copy for a reasonable price like I did, I'd definitely snap it up straight away. I'm really glad I did, and I'm very happy to have this as part of my Game Boy collection. So thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that video review of StarHawk for the Game Boy. I think it's a really cool game. I'd really recommend it if you ever manage to find a copy. So thank you very much for watching. As always, don't forget to comment, subscribe, check out my Patreon, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye!